Magnus knows it was getting out of hand there, but ultimately was never, you never let it fully slip, and the time was always going to make Black's position tough to play.
Yep. All right. Well, there you go.
I'm excited for this opening here. The Scandi doesn't make too many appearances.
No, and it was a Scandinavian with knight to f6 on the second move, which was kind of an invitation potentially to play like a Portuguese gambit. But instead of that, Jose's like, yeah, we're not doing all that. We're going to play the proper way. Or so you would think, because on the 8th move, he goes king f1. So
right,
put that in your pipe and smoke it.
I like it. King f1. I wonder if we're going to go full aggression with, g4 and king g2, or a little bit more reasonable king g1, king h2.
I think, yeah, g4, king g2 is nice. It's a nice idea. Magnus, meanwhile, he's doing his best, putting some fight back in the center of the board. Computer still likes the position for white. White has a nice space advantage, more active pieces, but it's not easy. I mean, you can have your better position, but suddenly Black is going to activate, put pressure on your c-pawn, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's kind of a toss-up here because d5, if you take it, White takes back with the pawn, threatens d6, certainly stops Black temporarily from castling, but we're probably going to see that square immediately blockaded, bishop d6, etc. And then the struggle is when you have the pawn on a3, it's always tempting to capture on c5 because you get that push with b4, c5 with tempo.
Yeah, so right now is an interesting question. Like, do you take on c5? Do you defend your bishop? Because you don't want to take back with the pawn.
Right.
Do you defend with the queen? Do you take and play b4? Do you play that move? Get in the way of the whole thing, right? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, essentially you want to play b4 against the bishop. So I really like knight d4 because that's the way you're supposed to execute that. b4, c5, exactly like this. But you were right that bishop takes e3 had to be avoided. So I thought Jocelyn playing knight d4 made a lot of sense there. That was a nice way to get these couple moves on the board. I think this is good.
Now bishop f3 is always nice. Put some pressure on b7. You can also try to jump a knight into the d6 square. At some point, I'm going to be a little bit curious what we're doing with the king.
Yeah.
But
yeah, there's too many other things going on that you don't need to address it just yet. But we're all wondering what's going to happen when you eventually do need to decide.
I also do wonder if you ever have h4, h5 ideas. I guess it's probably too ridiculous. King g1.
Okay.
Looks like we're solving this problem now.
I like the h4, h5 idea. I'm not 100% convinced that king g1 is all for king h2, and maybe it shouldn't have been because, yeah, king h2, just if you get checked, you're committing to playing g3 or f4, and neither one of these moves looks desirable.
So, lesson learned, probably 2 king moves in the middle of a sharp game, too slow. And a third one, which will be required to protect yourself. Wow, this is super, super bold. Apparently, there's a way to cut up the whole position. Why can't I just play c6? What's wrong with c6?
I mean, c6 is definitely there. I don't think there's a particular reason that c6 is no good. Pawn takes on b4 would be my thought. I assume that's what he's up to. I was wondering about bishop f3.
Yeah, just attacking the rook. Bishop f4 attacks nothing. It's not so clear. Now, the idea is the threat is knight c6, of course.
Yeah, bishop f4 covers queen c7 check, which was the only reason knight c6 was not played on the previous turn. But it walks into ideas like e5. It on its own, it doesn't do that much except stop the check. So now if Magnus plays a move that stops knight c6, there's a lot to deal with in terms of the pawn tension on the queen side. Super
sharp and weird position. Because e5, knight c6, you actually then can go to c7, but you would lose the bishop on e7 with a check. So that's not any good, and then this just would be dreadful. So what do you play here with black? Could you be looking at a sacrifice?
I was thinking, like, could you just play e5 anyway? Knight c6,
Whoa.
allow everything. Wow, queen sack.
He sacrifices the queen for 2 knights.
And he's correct, because the pawn is going to reach c2, and there's a lot loose in the position here. Knight takes c5 for sure.
Wow. He's going to lose both rooks as well in this process, but his 4 pieces are stronger than white's 4 pieces. That's incredible.
It is, because you know what? He doesn't even have to just queen this pawn and win the exchange. He could probably win multiple exchanges. How is this going to work here?
b5 is a crazy move. I mean, if anything, I feel like h6 is much more natural, but white wants some... Okay, that was wrong, apparently.
Yeah, I wonder... Okay, bishop e3. Bishop takes a3, and then, you know, eventually playing c1 is the idea. But when you move that bishop, you allow rook d8. You know, I'm not completely sold on allowing that.
So both players under 15 seconds. Magnus evening out the clock situation. Here we go. A queen sack and 2 rooks invested into the position, and h6 on the board, rook c4 in a response from Jose.
Yeah, he has to keep things defended here. Bishop takes a3 is still the idea. Maybe b5 and knight c4. But now he gets the sack in, and after all of that, this is the position that we get. What an incredible sequence by both of these guys. Chesscom absolutely held his own.
Super job. And now he can even begin trading off the pieces that black has. Like right now, bishop d5 looks really nice. And going for that endgame, he does it like this instead. The b pawn is 2 seconds, by the way.
My God, knight b4. It's falling apart.
Now
he knows this Magnus guy is so tricky. How does he do it?
Wow. Wow.
Magnus has got the hair blowing. He's looking like a mad scientist, and I don't know how he managed that, but Jose Martinez, he's getting sick and tired of Magnus escaping. We saw queen sacks back and forth in that one.
Crazy, crazy.